spent our first night exploring each other's bodies until he burst out singing. Oh, we kept the lights on, breathless and laughing. See, he taught me how to feel again in wave upon wave of pleasure. I ached in the morning, but every pain was evidence that he made me feel alive. And I was determined never to go back, never to surrender to numbness again. So after that night, 2/3 of my bed was permanently his. When he was gone, it was always left untouched by reflex, empty, but for his imagined silhouette beside me. 2/3, which is roughly the percentage of my thoughts that involved him. See, we always knew where he ended and I began, and I found myself wishing that we could just respect his boundaries, but still sometimes forget where we diverge from each other. Like, when we were lying next to each other, there was always space between us. Thin as wire, but deep, and as wide as the chasm between heaven and hell. My happiest moment was when for once he stayed all night with me and I thought our knees were touching. But, well, it was only a pillow he'd wedged between us. In my mind, I kept wondering what fraction of his heart was truly mine. But the words never came out, and every time when we asked each other what we were, we just agreed not to answer. But 2/3 of my bed was his. Like, morning light always symbolizes joy, the dawn of hope. But I guess the only truth that morning brought me was that his body touching mine all night was nothing but a pillow wedged between us, and there was never a kiss goodnight and no chance that he even wished that he could stay longer, and still with every time the sun rose, he was gone again. So the new nights became my hope. They were splendid lies, happy pageants. Oh, our bodies were perfect. But now the lights stayed off and my shirt stayed on. He used to kiss me for 3 hours, then 3 minutes, then just 3 seconds before fucking. But I told myself that was fine, because as long as he wanted me a little bit, then I could believe that maybe one day he'd want me the way that he used to. And I wanted to be wanted, and being wanted apathetically was better than nothing. Yes, I knew that was dangerous. I wasn't wholly stupid. I realized that we weren't healthy, but when I was with him, I felt like I was in a better world. In my daytime life, I felt so exposed, too illuminated, but nights with him felt like relief. So I began to accept his rages, because they were the only times that he was truly being honest about his feelings. He tended to assume I hurt him on purpose, and I tended to assume that he got angry because he had no other choice. But listen, how could I accuse him of being abusive when I knew he was the victim of so much trauma? When his anger was unwanted fruit growing from a past that he did not choose, and he always said that he was sorry after. I knew that I cried too many tears because of him, but listen, how could I leave him knowing that the pain of being left over and over were what made him the way he was? I believed he could get better. How could I choose to be the next interval in the pattern that wrecked him? What if I became the next tool his mind used against his body? I wonder if he even knows how much I cried for him those days. I felt like time was running out before we both went down, so eventually I started sleeping with other guys. First because I wanted to replace him, and then because I just wanted him to leave, but I wasn't capable of asking him to go. My Tinder said I was kinky, but he was a set of handcuffs on my wrist and there was no safe word. That wasn't the kink I wanted. Then I realized that he was letting me sleep around. He didn't care because he knew I wouldn't leave him. He said I could leave anytime I wanted because he knew I'd always be back. And so I believe he just came around for sex. I mean, maybe for me too. But I didn't know anymore. But then I realized that I had wanted him to be happy more than I wanted to be okay. He hurt me time and time again because he knew I couldn't reject an apology, and I never said no to him. His mental state was like the sword of Damocles dangling over my head, over my exit. I ached, my heart ached every morning, but somehow this dysfunctional mess made me feel alive, like I had a purpose. And I couldn't ever go back to the way I was. I couldn't go back to the numbness. But then after 8 months, he left me for another girl. It's crazy looking back now to think that I used to live that way. The funny thing is, I still miss him sometimes. But now, I feel free.